Welcome back to the belated Project Gen X podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Alan Smith, along with...
I'm the other guy, Big Dave.
Yeah, we just made it into December and through Thanksgiving, and...
It's partially my fault.
Oh, it's just the holidays is what it has been. And, you know, we had, I don't know, one of the last episodes, I don't even remember which one it was. I think it was... We put out one or two in November. I think we put out two, didn't we?
I don't even know what my name is anymore.
We did one about where it was just catching up, and then I forget what the other one.
I think that was the only one we did.
No, we did two.
Did we do two?
Yeah, but I don't know. It's hard to keep. I can't. I have, as we are recording this, it is December the 1st. I cannot believe that it's December 1st. I cannot believe that this year is gone. Just gone, and Christmas is not very far away.
I would almost say I'm glad the year is almost over, but I'm afraid of what next year is going to be because it seems like the last few years it just gets weirder and weirder. Next
year is going to be, for lack of a better term, next year is just going to be a shithole. And I tell you, and the reason why I say that,
okay,
I know that's not very, but the reason why I'm saying it is because it's an election year, and it's just all you got to do is look back 4 years and see what happened. So it's see how things are getting geared up.
I don't want to even talk about it.
I know.
I've got too much other stuff.
I know. So yeah, we're back, and we're going to talk about a couple of movies that are very Gen X. Matter of fact, one of the movies was in our greatest movies about Gen X tournament that we did.
We only put one out. The only episode I have for us in November it's November already.
Is that the only one we did? I thought we had another one. Oh, I know what it was because we recorded that one and the final Oktoberfest episode at the same time. So yeah, we only put one episode out. Well, part of the reason we only put one episode out last month is because I kept flaking on recording new episodes of albums that I love. And I was like, well, I'm going to put something out. Plus the fact, just holidays and everything else. It's kind of...
This month has been busy for me at work. And then my car has gone to the shop.
Yep.
And they went, it's an electrical issue. We've done everything we know. So we're now going to send it to a specialty shop. Mm-hmm. So I'm now in permanent limbo on my vehicle. Don't know when I'm getting it back or how much it's going to cost me.
How long before they pull out the shotgun and say, it's time?
I just got this stupid vehicle and I love it and I want it fixed. And then the Friday after Thanksgiving, my wife got hit by some woman who's claiming it's her fault and it wasn't because she blew through a yield sign.
Yeah, well.
And we found out.
Welcome to Nashville.
And I was already borrowing a car from my in-laws, and then we found out the hard way the other night that her vehicle doesn't have headlights now because of the wreck.
Yeah.
And so I had to, because it's...
Was it just like a fuse or headlights? You don't know yet?
We've got to go pick up a rental car tomorrow and drop it off at the shop on Monday. It may just
need new bulbs.
They're going to have to replace the front rim because the woman...
Okay.
Messed up the front. It's drivable, but there's no way they can put a new tire on it.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Oh, this has been Dave's car woes for December.
Yeah, it's the opposite of the car guys. Instead of talking about how to fix things, we talk about how my cars are messed up.
It has, yeah. Anyway, before we go off on a real tangent, this episode we're going to be talking about. We're going to touch a little bit on the origins, but we're going to talk about the two Wayne's World movies, Wayne's World and Wayne's World 2.
1992 and 1993.
Okay. So there's a little bit of a misnomer on that. Yes, they came out in sequential years.
Yeah.
But the first Wayne's World movie was released on February 14th of 1992. And Wayne's World 2 was released on December 10th of 1993. So there was almost 2 years between them.
Yeah.
So it's... and you can tell.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and say this up front, okay? While it's still on my mind, and I was... When I was in high school, okay?
Yeah.
My senior year of high school was when the first Wayne's World movie was released, okay? Like I was down the stretch of
Yeah.
You know, it came out in February. I graduated in May. One of those things. And of course, Wayne's World was the biggest thing around.
Well, go ahead.
And all that stuff. So I had this shirt, Wayne's World shirt, that shirt, you know, because you're 18 years old and you're wearing your favorite bands or TV shows shirts and everything, even back then. I remember distinctly a little over a year later, it would have been in 93, probably in the fall of 93 or something like that.
Yeah.
After I'd gone to college. Like one day pulling that shirt out of the closet and putting it on and wearing it and feeling completely out of place in that shirt just a year and a half after it was like the biggest thing around.
Yeah.
Watching Wayne's World 2 last night felt like that moment of like this feels, when you think about 1993, this feels completely out of place with anything else that was going on at the time.
Yeah.
And we'll get into it. So you got anything prepared about Wayne's World?
No.
To begin with?
It started off as a skit on Saturday Night Live.
Right.
And it was funny.
It was a good 3-minute sketch.
Yeah.
Or a 4-minute sketch, whatever it was. Every few weeks, not every week, but you know, you would get them every couple of weeks or something like that. And it was always a thing. I've never been a consistent Saturday Night Live viewer.
The only time I really was a consistent Saturday Night Live viewer was when Dennis Miller was doing Weekend Update. And I usually had it figured out about what time that was coming on. I'd turn on, watch Weekend Update, and I'd just turn it back.
Well, that was always at the half, like, it came on.
Yeah.
It was at the half hour. The first half hour was when they would do Weekend Update. That's how that was always when they came back into midnight on the East Coast, 11 o'clock here. That's when the Weekend Update would be on. And, of course, he was still there when all this was happening.
Yeah.
You know? And but again, I was not a consistent viewer. I would catch it sometimes, and it wasn't because I wasn't. Because believe me, I had nowhere else to be on a Saturday night back then because I didn't. It was before I had a car or even a license for a good part of it.
Yeah,
and especially when Wayne's World first started airing on Saturday Night Live. So I was at home, but I was usually watching something else or playing video games or something or playing my guitar usually or something like that.
Yeah.
So I would catch it sporadically, and I kept hearing about Wayne's World. Like, what are you talking about? And the first time I remember seeing one of the sketches, I thought, oh, this is funny. Of course, I knew about all of it because all my friends kept talking about.
Yeah.
Monday at school, that's all everybody was talking about was Wayne's World sketches. It's like, okay. So by the time that they announced that they were doing a movie, Wayne's World had taken over. That it is one of those things that I had seen most, if not all, of the sketches that they had done from the beginning.
Because when something gets hot, then they completely overblow it.
Absolutely. And
in pure Lorne Michaels fashion.
Yeah, and SNL movies are dubious at best. For every Blues Brothers or the first Wayne's World, you have It's Pat, or you have 5 It's Pats,
The Ladies' Man,
or Ladies' Man, or Night at the Roxbury, or Superstar, or any number of like just really flops. Not very good ones, And I did not. So it was released in February. I didn't see it until June, and I remember because I was in Florida. It was after I'd graduated high school.
Okay.
And we went to the theater because it was playing it like it was like a second run theater or something. Me and my friends went and saw it because we were like trying to figure out something to do one afternoon.
Yeah.
Of course, they had all seen it before, and I remember like really, really enjoying the movie, thinking that it was hilarious.
I mean, how could you not enjoy it? It was a movie about a couple of burnouts living at home. Mm-hmm. That were heavy metal fans that had a public access TV show.
Yeah.
And we all knew about public access.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Nashville had public
everybody had public access.
And now I work at a college where the local public access
they do it out of there.
Is out of one of the buildings there.
But yeah, and it was also one of those things that this was when heavy metal was
dying.
Well, it was on the downside.
Yeah.
It had already hit its peak. But Nirvana had already hit.
Yeah.
And so
it was kind of making fun of it a little bit.
Yeah, and it was one of those things. But, that was the other thing was that I had heard Bohemian Rhapsody a couple times prior to this movie. But that was the whole thing. When the music video for Bohemian Rhapsody hit MTV with all the Wayne's World footage, because I was like, guys, and that sent that song into the stratosphere in the States. I know it had been huge in Europe decades prior or whatever, but it wasn't until people keep forgetting that. It wasn't until the end of 1991 and the beginning of 92 that song hit huge in the States.
Yeah.
Which is one of the things that irritates me whenever I will watch stuff like the Goldbergs or something like that's set in the 1980s, and they're talking about, Bohemian Rhapsody is the best song. I was like, no one knew about that song stateside hardly. Okay?
No,
it was one of those things that would get played late on a Saturday night on your classic rock station when they knew nobody was really listening to it. So
because it was over 3 minutes long.
I know, and it was just kind of one of those what is this weird thing?
No, in the 80s, if you were talking Queen, you were talking
Another One Bites
the Dust, or We Will Rock You,
or Radio Gaga is
Radio Gaga.
It was a pretty decent, and it was that type of. Yeah, you're right. It was those types of.
Yeah,
We Are the Champions, obviously, because
that's the other side of We Will Rock You.
and it got played in several movies and stuff. Yeah. So it just Wayne's World was the first Wayne's World movie was a serious moment in time.
Yeah.
Of this is right on the cusp of. Everything is changing in pop culture. And this is kind of the last gasp of what was before.
Yeah. And if they had stopped there, it would have been perfect.
Yeah, and we'll get to it. Let's talk about the movie itself.
Yeah.
Because the challenge that SNL movies have always had is how do you take a 3-minute sketch and turn it into an hour-and-a-half movie?
Yes.
And like I said before, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Most of the time it doesn't.
Most of the time it doesn't. And every once in a while you get one of those Stuart Saves His Family, which is so bizarre you can't not watch it.
It's almost a Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Dude, that movie, I remember seeing that movie, like it was on cable or whatever in the mid-90s. Of course, this whole Stuart Smalley, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough to know I'm black. And like hearing they were going to make a movie, and I think it went straight to video, if I'm not mistaken. And it was just like I remember seeing it and being like, "This is not a comedy, like at all. No. This is a very dark movie that has comedic elements to it, but it's not a dark comedy. It was at all.
It's kind of like renting the cable guy.
Yeah, where it's like I don't think they meant for this to be funny, but it kind of is still.
Yeah,
just like what am I watching?
Yeah, it's definitely on the dark humor.
Of course,
side.
this is also Coneheads is another one. That's not bad. It's not a bad movie.
That was fairly big.
Right, but I think the only reason we got the Coneheads movie is because Wayne's World did so well, honestly. And, of course, the Coneheads were from the 70s. That was original first 5 years stuff.
Yeah.
And, so you're literally talking about over a decade later, almost a decade and a half later, they made the movie.
Yeah, they pulled it out. I was like, let's see what we can go back and rehash some of this stuff.
Yeah. I did think it was kind of fun watching this and seeing Chris Farley in like a very minor, like he's in both movies, plays two different. It had been so long since I had seen the first Wayne's World movie that I forgot some of the people that were in this, and some of and a lot of the plot point, quite honestly. So when they walked out the back with the Alice Cooper and the concert, and Chris Farley's like, oh, I didn't even remember that he was in this movie. And are you pulling up the list of people?
Yeah. So, as you know, we got Mike Myers,
right.
Dana Carvey,
right.
Tia Carrera,
right.
Rob Lowe,
mm-hmm.
Laura Flynn Boyle,
mm-hmm.
Brian Doyle Murphy.
Yes. I forgot he was in it, too.
Yeah. Colleen Camp as Mimi Vanderhoff. Kurt Fuller, Chris Farley, Meatloaf.
Yeah, I forgot Meatloaf was in it also.
Was the doorman,
the doorman at the gas.
Ed O'Neill.
Yeah, I knew he was. Yeah,
who plays Glenn, the manager of Makita's. That's the movie I want to see,
dude. That especially in this first one.
Yeah,
the little pull away with him where he has that little monologue is like no, I want to see this movie. Yes. I want to see this movie.
Of course, Robert Patrick was in it.
Yes, yeah.
Reprising his role as the T-1000 from Terminator 2. And of course, Alice Cooper and his band at the time. So
yeah, and that's Alice Cooper was really good in this movie. I know he was just playing himself, but of course it's a heightened version of himself, whatever. But it was still just kind of one of those no, he was really good, and I was really surprised. Rob Lowe, people forget that when Rob Lowe made this movie, and then when he made Tommy Boy, he was basically just getting out of movie jail.
Yeah.
Because of everything that happened with the scandal, that with the underage girls and everything that
and the
happened,
cocaine
and the coke and all,
and
all that kind of stuff, and the home video that emerged and all that stuff, where it was like he had a big resurgence in the late 90s and into on through the 2000s and even into now, One of those things, there was about a 5-year period in there where he was like, they would not touch him with a 10-foot pole.
No.
So that was when I remember seeing this movie, not knowing that he was in it and being like, oh, wow, he's still making movies? Like, I thought he was done. Yeah. So.
And of course, he plays the most vile slime of the earth.
Yeah. Which Rob Lowe plays a good bad guy. He always has.
And the guy who played Rooney in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. No. You're right. That's a completely different guy.
No, you're thinking of this guy. He was.
You're right.
He was in No Holds Barred.
Yes.
and,
yes, that guy. I can't think of his name.
And I'm like, because he is. He's one of those that it's that guy.
Yeah.
Peter Is it Peter DeLuise or Michael DeLuise? It was Peter DeLuise. No, it was Michael DeLuise. One of the DeLuise brothers is in this one also.
Yeah.
He's like one of the background. He's one of the guys. They're buddies. I think it's Michael, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Michael's the younger one. And it's just you see these little people here and there, and it's like, okay. Also,
it's basically just a bunch of sketches stitched together into a movie.
I really like the way that they did with them talking to the camera.
Yeah.
Where they acknowledge that they're breaking the fourth wall, and kind of setting up everything.
Yeah.
And even the people around them. Because, there is that whole thing with Ed O'Neill's character where he goes off and then Wayne's like, no, me and Garth are the only ones that can talk to the camera or whatever, type thing. And it's funny, like with Garth even, because you get the whole, I didn't realize, or maybe I had just forgotten how socially awkward Garth really is.
Yeah.
But you really get that with that first, with him talking to the camera.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to say.
Yeah,
right
it's
now.
just kind of like, and it's just,
oh, look over there.
Yeah, and it just, I
away.
know, and that kind of stuff, and it's just like, okay, there had always kind of been that whole, to put it in other terms, the whole Beavis and Butthead thing, where you have Garth and Beavis and Butthead are like kind of the same, and then Garth and Beavis are kind of the same, and then Wayne and Butthead are kind of the same. Is like they're the ones that are kind of driving things, and they're the sidekick, and
who from time to time makes things happen.
Yes, from time to time.
Yeah,
but it what is the plot to this movie? At least 2 has a plot, okay? But this one...
No, it's just a day in the life of Wayne and Garth.
It's more than a day. I mean, but it's just like... Rob Lowe, who's a television executive in Chicago, his girlfriend happens to flip the channels and wants to watch this public access show
from Aurora, which is a suburb of Chicago.
Right, and so
he's like, "Oh, we can
do something with this.
We can take the show and use it for advertising. Right, for this arcade thing that's not doing anything.
Right, and then so then
hilarity ensues.
Yeah, something like that, and then Wayne and Garth go to what was the name of the place? It was the Gas something. That was the name of the club.
Oh,
anyway, but they see Crucial Taunt, which is Tia Carrere's band.
Yeah,
and look, Tia Carrere is a good singer, like she is, but she does not need to be singing rock music because she just doesn't have the voice for it.
No.
I mean, she doing pop music and that kind of stuff is fine, but there are multiple times when she's trying to sing in a rock style that it just really does not translate well at all.
Doesn't work.
No. And You said something earlier when we were kind of talking. You said talking about how like you remember thinking that
Oh,
Tia Carrere was.
I remember when the movie came out. I was like, dude, I got a crush on her. And I watched it the other night, and I'm like, why did I have a crush on this girl?
Don't get me wrong, Tia Carrere.
I mean, she's cute.
I still found her very attractive, but I too did not. I remembered her being more attractive than she was whenever I watched it this time. Like, okay, that was just the 18-year-old me.
Yeah, that's
you know,
kinda what I
I
was
think it's
thinking,
probably what
yeah.
it was. You know, and like I said, don't even. Tia Carrere is still beautiful. Don't even get me. Sorry, I had a different mental picture of her than what was actually on screen.
Yeah, me too.
I also, she doesn't really have that, like, in her real life. She doesn't really have that kind of broken English, like,
She doesn't.
accent at all. Which is funny because it's like, I know she plays Cantonese in this, you know, like, but I think she's actually from Hawaii, if I'm not mistaken. I think, or like her.
I don't know.
Something like that. I think I could be completely wrong. I know once you get into a lot of the Pacific Islands,
Gasworks.
Gasworks. That's what it was. Yeah. And that's where Meatloaf was the doorman, and that club was pretty cool. You know, I was like, I kind of dig the place. You know,
very industrial metal.
Very
type,
much. Very very early '90s.
Yeah,
very early '90s, and you know the music is very early 90s pre-grunge, very early 90s pre-grunge music. And even when you start looking at who's on the soundtrack, you know, which was funny because I think Smashing Pumpkins is on the soundtrack.
She is of Filipino and Chinese descent.
Filipino, okay. I knew she was somewhere. I think she
was born in Honolulu.
She's actually from Hawaii, so that's what I thought.
Sorry, I've got
no, that's fine. That's fine.
Magic Witch Box out.
I was really kind of listening to the background music of what was being played. Like, I did not remember that Temple of the Dog had a song in this. Yeah. And that Smashing Pumpkins had a song in it.
Yeah.
Because, they're from Chicago, and it's just like...
Bullet Boys.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Then you have Bullet Boys, and I think isn't Cinderella on there, too, or something like that. I mean,
something like that.
It's these really weird... Of course, Alice Cooper's got a song, and then Crucial Taunt has, their cover of Ballroom Blitz.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, this is... interesting mix of stuff, of course, also with Queen, and I think it was
Jimi Hendrix.
There's multiple Hendrix songs in this.
Dreamweaver by what's his name?
Yeah, Dreamweaver from the '70s, and it's just Mickey, Tony Basil, and it's just like it's such a weird mix of music. And talk about when we get to Wayne's World 2, talking about the weird mix of music that's in the thing, where it's like, what in the world?
I'm actually trying to find the entire list of.
Yeah, I'm not that concerned with it. The ending of this movie, because it kind of goes through the beat. Oh, he meets her and kind of has to win her over, and then they become a couple, and then of course
he learns Cantonese.
And then of course Rob Lowe tries to.
There's the whole
and
kung fu overdubbing fight scene.
That's in the second one.
Was that in the
second one? Yes.
Oh, you might be right. Yeah.
No, it was. Believe me, because I got them mixed up also of certain things of like
Black Sabbath was in there with Time Machine.
Okay.
Of course, Alice Cooper, Rhino Bucket, Eric Clapton. Loving Your Lovin'.
Okay.
Soundgarden, Kicks. Ugly Kid Joe.
Oh, yeah. Everything About You was played at the very beginning of it.
Yeah. Temple of the Dog was All Night Thing.
Right.
And Tia Carrere had recorded like 3 or 4 songs.
Right. Yeah, she had several songs on there. But yeah, so it kind of goes through, and then it gets to the end of it, and it's really kind of funny the way that like they go through the ending.
Yeah, they go through the sad ending.
And they're like,
Scooby-Doo
let's do the Scooby-Doo ending, and it's like, let's do the happy ending.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I that's funny. That's I tell you what, I remember seeing it the first time, and I still got a chuckle out of it this time, but not nearly as much as the first. In the beginning, when they go to the donut shop.
Yeah,
and the police officer meets them out front. And he's talking about how like he had to do like full cavity searches on people, whatever.
Yeah,
the payoff on that at the end of the movie, is hilarious. Just like I remember just laughing uncontrollably the first time whenever it was like, oh, and especially whenever Rob Lowe's character shows up at the studio later and he's like waddling in, and it's like, oh God, that's
Yep.
And then they had like that little tag at the end of it over the
credits.
The credits, you know, they're like, hey, what are they going to do? I don't know. I guess they'll probably just go to black, or
they'll probably just fade out on the black.
Yeah, fade out on black. Yeah.
See, I told you.
Yeah.
How rude.
I know. Oh, we didn't even talk about Laura Flynn Boyle as Wayne's ex-girlfriend, who's like still stalking him.
Yeah.
You know, and she's like, hey, it's our anniversary. It's like, we broke up 2 months ago. It's like, are you going to open it? It's like, what is this? It's a gun rack. I don't own a gun, let alone have a rack.
Yeah.
And she's always just like, you know, you keep it up and you're gonna lose me. He's like, I already did 2 months ago. And of course, you know,
psycho hose beast.
all the other stuff with like her like falling through a skylight or flipping over the hood of a Camaro on a bike, and just like, man.
Yeah. Yeah, she was heavy into the slapstick on that one.
And it's funny, like, what she went on to do later, becoming like Emmy and winning actress and all this kind of stuff, where it's like, wow, that was a big switch from one to the other. Prior to that, she'd been in like, well, I don't know if it was prior to that or somewhere, she'd been in like The Temp, and she'd been in several things where she kind of played psycho characters and stuff, but this was like the funny psycho, and I was just like, all right. I really enjoyed Wayne's World, the first movie.
Yeah.
I really did. Then
It's kind of a time capsule.
did you watch these close to each other?
Yeah.
I watched them back to back last night. Like literally, I finished one and went right straight to the other one, and almost immediately I was like, why did they make this movie?
Yep.
I understand that first movie did really well at the box office, so of course they were going to make a sequel.
Yeah.
But again, it was there. You know, you get Radar Love. You get a bunch of classic rock. Not only do you get a bunch of classic rock in this movie, but you also get the whole from 3 years earlier, the whole Jim Morrison, the Doors thing. With the dream sequence, it's like, wow, this is really out of touch with what's going on in the world right now. You know, this is like, it's just one of those things where you look at it and go, I know you were trying to make money, but couldn't you have made something at least kind of contemporary? I mean, like, really and truly, the most contemporary stuff that they did was the fact that Aerosmith was on an upswing at the time, so of course you went to see Aerosmith. And then the fact that they name dropped Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
But that's it. And it's like,
and as far as I can tell, Pearl Jam didn't have a song on the.
No, they didn't.
In the movie.
At all.
Because you had Robert Plant doing Louie Louie.
Okay.
You had Aerosmith with Dude Looks Like a Lady.
Right.
You had Gin Blossoms with Idiot Summer. You had Superfan, and it's a collective of a bunch of different. It's a collective between Chrissy Hynde on vocals and the musicians from Urge Overkill.
Okay.
Joan Jett and the Blackhearts.
Right. I Love Rock and Roll was in there.
Norman Greenbaum with Spirit in the Sky.
Right. Yeah. Classic rock.
Out There with Dinosaur Jr.
Yeah.
Four Non-Blondes, Mary's House, Golden Earring, Radar Love, Bad Company, Can't Get Enough, Edgar Winter, Frankenstein.
Look at all the classic rock that's on this thing.
Aerosmith, Shut Up and Dance, and then YMCA.
Right. And it's like
when they go to the Oyster Bar.
Yeah, but it's just one of those things where you sit there and, or it's called the Toolbox.
Oh,
the
yeah.
name of
it.
Yeah. But yeah, where it was just kind of that, what are they doing here? Like, what do they think that they're tapping into?
Which is them paying homage to Police Academy.
Yeah, in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Well, you know, she even said something about when he asked when they first meet in the first movie.
Yeah.
He said, "How did you learn English?" And she's like, "Well, you know, I learned it when we moved here, but also from the Police Academy movies."
Yeah.
So it was but it just I don't, like I said, it just felt
forced,
so out of place. And Christopher Walken.
Yeah. As the bad guy.
Christopher Walken is another one that we put in the category of, he's been in some bad movies, but he always shows up for them.
Yeah.
I mean.
And he showed up for this one, too.
He very much did. I'll tell you, one of the, talking about like the endings in the movies and like a lot of the references and stuff.
Yeah.
You have to kind of really know some film history on some of this stuff. Because they do the whole The Graduate thing.
Yeah.
And it's like,
it's almost shot for shot.
I know. And it's like, I love when he's going to stop the wedding and he goes into the gas station, and he asks the guy how to get to a certain street.
Yeah.
And he starts this whole monologue. And Wayne's like, yeah, no. He's like, and the guy's like, what? Is there something wrong? He's like, well, it's nothing. He's like, just can't we get a better actor? And then Charlton Heston comes in, and he's crying watching the.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's good. That's there were little things like that they would do. Like Harry Shearer as Handsome Dan.
Yeah.
And like there were. We talked about
McGinley.
Yeah,
Mr. Screen.
Yeah, and that was he felt that he was supposed to be Handsome Dan to begin with.
Yeah.
Ted McGinley, and then of course you had Sammy Davis Jr. shows up, or Tim Meadows shows up as Sammy Davis Jr. in one of the dream sequences. And what's the guy's name?
Hold on, let's just go through
that plays the roadie. Geez, I can't remember. But and they did some of their,
Ralph Brown.
Yeah, and they did some of their.
You had Kevin Pollak in here.
Yeah, Kevin Pollak. He was the guy at the
James Hong as Cassandra's daughter.
His dad.
Yeah. Dad. God, I'm so tired.
That was the other thing too. Watching that fight sequence.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this would not play in 2023 at all.
and then you had Kim Basinger.
Dude.
As
all right.
Honey Hornay.
Kim Basinger, okay?
Yeah.
We covered Batman
89
back earlier this year in the summer. And I think I said something to you then about how Kim Basinger has not been in the public light for a long time. Like the last thing,
8 Mile,
which was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the last thing I remember seeing her in that was big, whatever. So you get some time and distance away from all that, and you forget.
Yeah.
And I was watching her. She's only in like 2 scenes or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there watching her, and I was like, I forgot how stunning she really.
Yeah.
Probably still is, but especially was then, of like, wow. And it's like,
I still remember seeing her in Cool World.
Yeah.
Being just like, whoa.
Yeah. But there was that when they were back at the apartment, after they'd gone out to dinner, going in World War II. And I was just sitting there, I was like, I forgot how attractive she really was. Now, the other thing is she's also a good actor.
Yeah.
She always was. I'm like, I have seen Kim Basinger in some bad movies, but I've never seen her give a bad performance.
No, she's kind of like Walken. She always shows up.
That's like Cool World being a prime example.
That's a terrible movie, but
she's really good in it. I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hollywood. I know. It's
yeah. So Chris Farley, Ed O'Neill,
yes,
once again.
Which you notice how much he aged, in that time period, and it's like, wow, dude, like I couldn't believe. I was like, wow, that's
Larry Sellers is weird naked Indian guy.
Yeah, that's the whole weird naked Indian guy.
I'm trying to think. Drew Barrymore is in this. Olivia Dabo,
dude, I was like, who is that? Like, I kept looking at her face. I was like, Olivia Dabo has a very distinct mouth.
Yeah.
Okay, like the shape of her mouth and the way her teeth. There's always been a thing about her.
For those who don't know who you're talking about.
She was Kevin's sister on The Wonder Years.
Yes.
She was also in a bunch of other stuff. I know she was in Greedy. I mean, she's been in a bunch of stuff over the years. But most famous is as Kevin's sister from The Wonder Years. And I kept looking. I was like, "Who is that?" Of course, they got her in a Wayne wig and glasses, and they made her a female Wayne, basically.
No, female Garth.
Or female Garth. I'm sorry. And it was just kind of one of those like, "Who is that?" And I finally had to go look it up. I was like, "Oh, wow, they really changed her look a lot."
Yeah. And of course, you've already mentioned Charleston Heston, Jay Leno, Heather Locklear, Ted McGinley, Tim Meadows.
Heather Locklear. I forgot she's got a little cameo at the very beginning of it.
And then you get Robert Smigel.
Yep.
And Bob Odenkirk.
Right. As two nerds.
As the two nerds backstage.
Yep. At the Aerosmith concert.
Yeah. You mentioned Harry Shearer. Rip Taylor.
Oh, yeah. Rip Taylor playing himself.
Yeah.
Of course, the guys from Aerosmith.
Aerosmith, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just...
There's a lot. It's like they were like, okay, how many cameos can we
really
fit into one?
And of course, they had the whole at one point where he goes and he's like, "What do you guys do?" And I was like, "Oh," and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're here just to
Well, I'm setting up the chickens in cages,
and I'm making sure there's plenty of
watermelons here.
And you're selling watermelons? No, we're just supposed to, just like these guys are just supposed to carry glass back and forth across the street. It's like, I wonder if this is going to pay off later.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That kind of stuff that which was always one of the great things about Wayne's World, is that they would call that kind of stuff out.
It was always nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
I'll also tell you something else going back and watch this. And of course, I knew it even at the time that Dana Carvey and Mike Myers were older.
Yeah.
And I say older, they were in their 30s or something whenever they were.
Yeah, but you can tell.
You can really tell. Like I was like, wow, they look a lot older than I remember them being.
Yeah.
That was, especially Dana Carvey, where it was like, wow.
Yeah, the drugs took their toll.
You really, the eyes just give it away. So.
The neck.
Yeah. There was, It's funny how you remember stuff, and then whenever you go back and rewatch it, and it's like, this is not exactly the way I remember it being.
Yeah, no.
I've done that with several things where I have this
That's
memory.
kind of been the bad thing about this podcast.
In some ways,
is we have to go back and watch all this stuff to remind ourselves why we loved it, and then we come back going, why did
when we get to the
this?
next episode, you'll hear some of that from me about the next subject. So it's that's next episode. So. And there's a callback in the next episode to what we're talking about now. So when we get there,
I guess you're going to have to
foreshadowing.
Have to listen to the next episode.
So I wonder if this will pay off later. Yeah. But yeah, I enjoyed rewatching the first movie.
Yeah.
I realized, again, like I said, that it had been a very long time since I had seen the first Wayne's World movie. And I also realized that I apparently had seen Wayne's World 2, if not completely multiple times. I had seen at least bits and pieces of it multiple times when it was playing on cable in the mid-90s.
Yeah. Because
a lot of stuff I was sitting there watching Wayne's World, I'm like, well, where's that scene when this happens? And then it wound up being in the second one.
Yeah.
Like the fight between him and the dad.
Yeah.
And also whenever they're at Cassandra's place and she...
Honestly, I think you probably could have taken both these movies
and made one really good movie
and made one really good
I agree.
movie out of it.
And when she's talking about, like, hey, look what I got at... she says, look what I got at a yard sale, and it's Frampton Comes Alive.
Yeah.
I remember, I kept thinking that was in the first one for whatever reason.
Nope.
Wound up being the second one. So, yeah, there were several of those that just...
I remember rewatching the first one, and when they get to the scene where they're in the apartment rehearsing, I remember going, man, I really want that drum kit.
Yeah.
And then I remember watching it this time and going, well, that kick drum is just way too thin.
Yeah, I know.
That needs to be a much bigger kick drum.
Yeah, that's you're getting into drums and something like whatever.
Yeah,
things you beat on, and that's about it. So.
Throw something at you.
Things you can program with a computer,
Get out.
This is my house.
Get out.
Things you can program with a computer and it doesn't give any lip. How about that?
Yeah, definitely get out. Jerk.
But yeah, I really enjoyed revisiting Wayne's World.
The first one.
The first one.
The second one, not so much.
We had talked about doing this a while back. Like this topic was one that we've been discussing doing for a while. And we just we wound up doing other stuff and hadn't got around to it. But I had months ago gone and done a little bit of research and trying to go back and watch some of the old SNL sketches. Yeah. And they're hit or miss. They really are. It's kind of one of those things you remember the really funny ones and think that was all the good ones, and then there's other ones where you're like, oh, this was dead. Like this just never went anywhere. SNL's always like that though. I mean, it's always you remember like these really funny sketches, but then you forget the other 5 sketches in that show that were just completely terrible.
It's the risk of doing live TV.
Absolutely.
If it hits big. If it fails, it's
right. And that's the whole way. Especially if you go back and watch the very first Wayne's World sketch, nobody knows anything about it. It's just what's going on here, and it's got a couple of chuckles and that kind of stuff. But I think it was the second sketch that they did where people were like, oh, okay, it says the Wayne's World guys, and then they like actually had the characters down, and this is what they're going to be, and and all that kind of stuff, and it was like, okay, this is when it really caught on. But that very first sketch is kind of rough, and then there was a few other ones in there that was kind of rough as well. Probably their best stuff was the ones that they pre-recorded, like the stuff with Madonna and all that, where it's like, no, these are really funny, and both Carvey and Myers are good improv guys, but they're really better with a script. Yeah, quite honestly. So it is what it is. And again, hindsight's 20/20. You come back and you think about it a certain way, and then you watch it, and it's like, okay. Do you have anything like that you remembered a certain way, and then you like watched it or go back and listen to it?
Like half of everything we've talked about on the podcast.
I'll tell you, since I've been doing those episodes of my favorite band or my favorite albums, because I've got a few more that I'm going to get in before the end of the year. Then I've gone back and re-listened to, and I was like, I understood why I liked that back in the early 90s, and I understand why I don't like it quite as much now in the 2020s. Yeah. It's like it is very it's very of its time and very dated to that time and what I would have been feeling at 18, 19, 20 years old or whatever, and maybe not so much at almost 50.
Well, that's why music is a journey.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me.
Uh-oh.
In Wayne's World 2.
Uh-huh.
They were talking about going to a Kenny G or something about Kenny G or something. And like Garth is like in the...
Oh, no, it's
Kenny. They say something about Kenny G.
Yeah.
And then Garth is like, goes into his imagination and he's at a concert and everybody's sitting there and then he's getting his teeth drilled.
It's because his dentist listened to Kenny G when he was drilling his teeth.
What I thought was hilarious, and I noticed it and I had to like rewind it, like at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
When they're went through the credits, when it gets to the music stuff, the very first thing it says on there is who actually recorded that song. It was not Kenny G, and then right underneath it said Kenny G did not authorize us to use any of his music in this.
Yep. Yep, which means they used it without permission.
But that wasn't him.
I know, but
they had somebody else record something that sounded a lot like it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure by that point Kenny G was tired of being the butt of the joke because he had been.
And from what I understand, he was quite litigious anyway.
Yeah. One of my favorite Kenny G jokes was, remember he did that whole thing where he broke the record for holding the longest note, doing the circular breathing and everything. Yeah. It was when Greg Kinnear was still, or not, was it Greg Kinnear? It wasn't Greg Kinnear. It was, who was the first host of The Daily Show? He used to be on ESPN. It was when he was hosting and before Jon Stewart took over. And that was one of the things that Craig Kilborn.
There you go.
That was one of the things that they covered was that he did this. He did it at a concert. Yeah. And he's like, yeah. And Kenny G came on stage and right before he did it and said, "This is probably going to be long and boring." And he just let it sit there, and it's like, yep, that sounds about right with Kenny G. So it's.
Do you know who I'm talking about when I say Gabriel Iglesias, Fluffy, the comedian?
Yeah.
Okay, he tells a story. He's always shouting out his crew and his friends, that go along with him on the tours and all that. And he was talking about his bus driver.
Okay.
Who, evidently, his name is also Dave.
Okay.
But he goes, he talks about his bus driver, and he goes, if you look at him, you can sum up the bus driver Dave in one word. It's Merca.
Okay.
Very white collar.
Yep.
And, he drives that bus and he keeps it clean and, he stands up for his principles. Well, evidently he used to drive for Kenny G. Oh, man. And evidently Kenny G said something that Dave, the bus driver, did not agree with. Mm-hmm. And Dave, the bus driver, pulled the bus over and kicked Kenny G off of his bus and drove off without him.
That's awesome.
And that's why he was driving for Gabriel Iglesias
instead of Kenny G. Yeah, well,
If you haven't seen any of Gabriel Iglesias's Netflix specials, you really should go and watch them because they're hysterical.
I have.
One of my favorites that he tells, of course, he and his buddies are sitting on the bus.
Mm-hmm.
Dave's driving, and he talks about there's somebody on the TV. I'm not going to say who. And he's talking about building a certain building along a certain border and having somebody else pay for it. Of course, he and his buddy are back there just talking, arguing about it. And they hear Dave, the bus driver, laughing about it. Mm-hmm. And Gabriel's like, yeah, you shut up, Dave. You don't get to say anything about this. And so there's a electronic partition between the rest of the bus and the bus driver. Mm-hmm. So he reaches over and he hits the button. He starts sliding that closed. And just before it's closed, Dave, the bus driver, shouts back going, I'm building a wall, and shuts the door. And, of course, Gabriel Iglesias, his friend, are sitting there looking at each other like, did he just say that?
Did he just really do that?
Did he really do that? And he goes, and then my phone vibrated. And he goes, that's right. He better be apologizing. And I said, I picked up my phone. I looked at it. And he goes, and you're paying for it.
That's good.
So
how can he be mad at that? I mean, honestly, that's
no, but you really should go and watch some of his comedy specials because he is hysterical. I love
he's one of
Fluffy.
One of those guys that when he was kind of at his height, which I guess was probably in the 2000s, somewhere early mid 2000s, maybe in the early 2010s. I don't know.
I don't know.
Somewhere during that time he kind of got lumped in with a bunch of other people that I would catch bits and pieces of. And be like, oh yeah, that bit was funny, but didn't really follow. I haven't followed comedians so much, since I don't know, I was out of my 20s, I guess. I mean, there have been a few of them here or there that will jump up, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's funny. But it's kind of like Bill Burr, okay?
Yeah,
Bill Burr is one of those guys that I have liked because he's been so irreverent and really just gives zero Fs whatsoever.
He's an equal opportunity offender.
But in the last year and a half or so, I have seen him multiple times on things where he has said stuff where I was like, and this goes against everything that you portray yourself as when you're on stage.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, look, I understand there's a difference between the art and the artist, okay? Yeah. But there is also that whole, hey, you're selling something that you're not living, and I don't like that. That, for me personally. Now, again, I don't know Bill Burr, okay? Who knows? Yeah. But, that's just kind of, and there's plenty of other guys that, like, I disagree with, but that they're still funny. And I still think Bill Burr's hilarious. Like, I could sit and watch Bill Burr roast people all day long. Yeah, I mean,
because he's brutal.
Dude, he is. He pulls no punches whatsoever.
It's like Chappelle. I love Chappelle.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah,
but I mean, when Chappelle's show was on, that was another one of those shows that I knew more about that show from other people telling me about it than I knew from actually watching it. And then I would go and watch it, and what I was told about the show was not what I was seeing on the television. Like the presentation and everything was always like, wait a second, I thought this was a sketch show, but why is he doing stand-up? And why? And then, okay, here's the sketches. And then it would go back to it, and I was like, I don't like that format. Kind of bothered me a little bit the way that he did. Now it was different and it was groundbreaking in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
but it just wasn't what I was used to, and so I didn't really watch it as closely as a lot of other people did. I kind of like to have my sketch comedy over here and my stand up over here.
No.
So it's
and honestly, I remember Chappelle's show and all, and watching it and being like, yeah, this is okay. But it's his stand up stuff after he came back that I really enjoy.
Yeah, that's after he kind of burned it all to the ground and came back, and it was like, And even then, some of that stuff, I'm like, some of it's funny and some of it's not. Mostly it's funny.
Yeah.
But they're all comedians are like that, though. All of them.
Yeah.
I think I shared the clip with you. Like, I really love Eliza Schlesinger. Okay. I've liked her for close to a decade. I always thought she was hilarious. And, her whole older millennial gimmick is kind of funny, whatever. But there was recently, there was this clip of her where she's doing her whole about, we've, we've been dumped on from the beginning, and this and that, and and all this kind of stuff. And of course, she's doing it in a comedic way. There's comedy in there. But the thing that set me off was that there was some stupid millennial that had clipped it, and then like put his own over top at the end of it, like, that's right, and this is the reason why millennials are the best generation ever. And I was like, oh no, see, that's the thing you don't understand. You guys are shit. Okay, that is. I'm sorry. As I guess as I am officially approaching the God knows I'm not going to live to be 100, but as I am approaching 50, my tolerance for other people's bullshit is just going into negatives now. So it's like I know from the very beginning of this show, I have talked about how I'm not quite as down on millennials as most other people of our generation, and this and that. I've given them the benefit of the doubt, and I've given them the benefit of the doubt. I have no benefits of the doubt to give any longer. Okay, I am at the point now where I'm like, no. That monologue or that opening scene of the first episode of The Newsroom, with Jeff Daniels' character calls them the worst generation ever, I agree with now. I guess I am officially in old man mode now of get off my lawn, cut your damn hair, and quit eating avocado toast. Okay, just
wow. Wow. I actually have hope for the Zoomers, though.
Some of them.
I've actually had some experiences recently with some of the Zoomers, and their sense of humor is very similar to ours.
Yeah, imagine that.
And it's very kind of refreshing.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I've actually enjoyed some of my interactions with some of the Zoomers I've had to.
Okay.
I've hung out with or dealt with here lately.
It's fine. Hey, they're here. So that's all I can say about them. They're here.
Yeah.
So I know now that we're like way off of our Wayne's World topic. But
I think they would totally get the Quiznos commercials with the weird fuzzy thing.
The sponge monkeys.
Yeah, the sponge monkeys.
It's what we love. Those commercials were so weird. They were, and that's 20
them.
years ago when those things were out.
Yeah.
And I remember that too. I did too. And everybody around me was like, "These are just weird." I'm like, "No, this is hilarious. This is funny."
Yeah. The difference is now they would look at it and be like, "Yeet," and then go on about the business.
Whatever that is. So yeah. I just don't. I don't get them. I don't get them. I don't try anymore. So
having younger cousins.
I have younger cousins.
And hanging out.
I mean, it's I over the holidays, I hung out with my cousins' kids.
Yeah.
And they're 13, 14 years old, 15 years old, somewhere around. I think one of them's 13, one's 15. And I was just like,
yeah,
okay, yeah, I get this now. Yeah, and I even remember like her middle kid a couple of years ago. They were in town, and I went to go. I forget where to do. So I went to go pick them up from the hotel. We were eat or whatever, and so I was like hanging out, and Allison was in the car with me, and her parents were inside taking care of something with the hotel, and we were sitting there, and all of a sudden I found myself going through all the usual crap that you ask a teenager that you don't know how to talk to. How's school going? Blah, blah, that kind of stuff. And I just stopped at one point. I'm like, let me give you a little bit of advice. It's like, this is something that no one ever told me whenever I was your age, and I wish I had known it. And I was like, there comes a point in your life, no matter how, and a lot of times it happens sooner than you believe that it's going to, where you just don't know how to talk to teenagers.
Nope.
At all. Like nobody, doesn't matter how many pop culture references you have in common. Doesn't matter. You just get to the point where you're just rattling off the same crap that you wish people hadn't asked you when you were that age.
Yep.
And so I was like, I'm not going to do it anymore. Okay. This is I'm just like, yeah. I was like, it'll happen to you too. It will. You will say it won't, but it will happen just the same way.
Yeah.
It's that weird thing with teenagers where it's like I still very vividly remember what it was like to be a teenager.
You gotta wait.
And I don't sugarcoat it. I know how stupid I was back then.
You almost have to wait for them to get like into their 20s.
Yeah, but even then,
conversations
sometimes it's still kind of. And I think what I've come to is that like my son is about to have a big birthday.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a hard time imagining him being 10 years old. Okay. Like in my head, he's still like 3.
Okay.
So sometimes I find myself talking to him like he's 3 because in my head, he's still 3. And I was like, no, you're not. And that's the same thing with my cousins. I still imagine them being 3, 4, 5 years old somewhere in there, even her oldest one who's going to be 25 here in a little bit. So I have to like readjust to, okay, they're on the cusp of being adult. 2 of them are on the cusp of being adults, and the other one already is an adult. So I have to like talk to them that way now. And I get that, and yeah, it's just weird. I don't know. Getting older is weird, and
being young is weird.
Yeah, it's weird. Life is weird. Life is weird. That is, I think that's, if nothing else, maybe that's what we're supposed to take out of this episode is life is just weird. And there is no roadmap to it whatsoever. And we're all just kind of getting along, trying not to screw it up as best we can. And some of us we're really good at screwing it up at certain times in our lives.
Yeah.
And it's just, I remember telling my therapist that years back when I was going, seeing a therapy, talking to, seeing a therapist.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where I was just like, I told her, I was like, I have never been scared of screwing up because I'm a wonderful screw up. I always have been. Mm-hmm. It was getting stuff right that always bothered me because now people are going to have expectations. It was just like,
yeah. There's a rock song in there somewhere.
I know there is, but and it's probably already been,
or some kind of Gen X movie.
Yeah, it's probably already been written somewhere. I'm not saying anything new. It's just that God, I wasn't expecting this episode to all of a sudden be me having my existential crisis about turning 50. But I'm really not, because I'm okay with it. It's just I can't wrap my head around being 50. I can't wrap my head around being in my 40s for all that, although I'm at the very end of them now. And it's just because it's that, it really is that push and pull of, and for about a year now, it's really kind of like since I turned 49 especially, I really have been going through this whole, maybe it's time to put away a lot of the stuff that you held on to for all this time and start acting like an actual adult. But then I'm like, I don't feel good in that world either.
Yeah.
I don't feel good in either one of these worlds. It's like I don't want to be the guy that's still hanging on or trying to hang on to his youth, but at the same time, I don't feel like I belong over in this column either. And so it's just kind of one of those I don't understand it. I don't understand it in the slightest. And if I'm having any kind of existential crisis about turning 50, it's that push and pull between like, this is who I've always been.
Yeah.
And it doesn't fit in with what society expects you to be at this age. Yeah. So it's kind of a...
No, I get that. I've already been there. I'm still doing it. I mean, I'm the guy at work that is like half dressed up but still wearing Chuck Taylors.
Yeah. It just...
And trying to deal with being professional but also not being one to play politics, which does not work in the workplace because you've got to play politics, and I don't like doing it.
Yeah,
I don't want to.
I had someone recently
talk to me like a human being. Don't talk to me like an asset to be manipulated.
I had someone recently. We were doing some legal stuff, and I won't get into all of it, but someone that was on the other side of the table, we'll put it that way, made a comment.
Yeah.
And I immediately was like, look, if it was just me sitting on this side of the table, I would burn this thing to the ground. Like, for everybody. And kind of aback, and I saw the look of, how old are you? Like, it sounds like something that, and I'm just sitting there like, I don't care. I'm always going to be like that. You want to know how old I am? I'm old enough to where I give 0 Fs anymore. That's what it comes down to. It's like, and I really don't care.
Well, every once in a while, somebody will be like, "Well, you're getting older. How do you picture yourself? When you're like older?" And I look at them, I go, "Have you seen the movie Secondhand Lions?" Yeah. And some have, and some haven't.
I've seen some of it. Yeah.
And I go, you need to go watch Secondhand Lions because it's going to be me and some of my buddies sitting on a front porch with shotguns waiting for folks to
come up the yard. Man.
Yeah,
I know.
try to sell us something.
I know, but it's just, I don't know. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
and get into trouble and
derail this episode.
Maybe die flying an airplane that we built in a barn through a barn.
There you go. Kind of makes me go back to the Black Widow movie. He's like, oh, this would be a cool way to die.
Yeah.
I was having that conversation with my cousin the other day. He's been helping Charlie. Has been helping us with the job site, and we were both talking about like those times in our lives where we were just like, well, this is it.
Yep.
This is where this is, and this is how it happens. No, it can't happen like this. This is just. I was expecting something a lot bigger and grander than this, or as he said, he's like, oh, really, this is the person I'm going to die with? No. This is.
Yeah.
I know you and Corey many times had the whole, really, he's getting us killed. He's getting us killed today. I know he is. It's like,
you have, Corey has.
I know.
I don't think I've been the one.
No, you were always trying to be at least the level-headed one. And you and Corey both. I was always one running my mouth. Still one always running my mouth. But it's like, it goes back.
I'm the one that's getting ready to pop things off. Mm-hmm. Things have gone terribly sideways.
Yeah. It's like there was a meme that went around a couple years ago. It was something to the effect of, if I'm ever murdered, just rest assured that I ran my mouth all the way to the end. And that's exactly. It's but hey, I guess we're all getting there, our own ways. I think this was pretty apropos for talking about Wayne's World and something that was of our youth.
Yeah.
That you go back and look at, and it's not quite what you remembered it being, but it was still fun to revisit. But then you're still looking like, what's ahead? When they did the reunion, like when I say they did that SNL reunion a few years ago, but then they also did there was a commercial that they did.
Yeah.
Where they reprised the role. I can't remember what it was for. And it was one of those like, man,
they look rough.
They look, they don't need to do this anymore. And that's, I get that with people, bands and actors and stuff who are asked to go back.
Rolling Stones.
Yeah. Dude, have you seen them recently? I saw a clip of them. It's been in the last couple of months from one of their shows.
Yeah.
And I was just like, somebody get these guys off the stage and tell them, and don't let them back on again. Just like, don't. Because...
Well, they got a new album coming out or something.
I guess if that's all you've ever done, it's hard to just walk away from it.
Yeah.
But you just sit there and look at it and you're like, this is just kind of sad. And there are several musical acts out there that I have loved over the years that I'm like, no, you need to just go away.
Motley Crue
is one of them.
Motley Crue is one of them.
I saw Alice Cooper a few years ago, and I enjoyed seeing it, but there was still that whole like, oh yeah, Alice Cooper's in his 70s now, and
when I saw
he wasn't moving that great. Let's put it that way.
When I saw Alice open up for Motley Crue on the No More Tours tour,
that's been a few years ago.
He was rocking it.
Yeah,
I mean, there was no.
I've seen him since then.
Yeah,
and he was starting to like, he was moving around the stage like an old guy. That was kind of...
Yeah, but he's like what?
He's in his 70s, I know.
71, 72?
Yeah, he's a little older than that, I think. But it was still one of those things where it was like, for all the hair dye and the makeup, you can tell you're an old dude. This is, and it happens to all of us. Believe me, I don't get around the way I did a few years ago. I've had all kinds of problems.
Oh, my knees think I'm 104.
I've got a bad knee, a bad ankle, I got two bad shoulders. Yeah, I mean, my back, it depends on what part of my back hurts, depends on what day of the week it is, quite honestly. So, I mean, it's like, I get it. Stuff happens. You put your body through a lot when you're young, and then it catches up to you later. And
it's not the time, it's the mileage.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, before we derail this anymore, we're going to go ahead and stop it now because this could go on for another hour of me bitching.
Quit screaming at that cloud, Alan.
I know. It's like, I know. I feel like I need to drop that Abe Simpson in there. Like,
do it.
what was the one about? I used to know what it was, and then it changed, or what I'll find it and drop it in here because it's very
apropos
these days.
I used to be with it, but then they changed what it was. Now what I'm with isn't it, and what's it seems weird and scary to me. It'll happen to you.
Guys, thank you for
putting up with our nonsense.
Putting up with this.
For over 200 episodes.
Yeah, we're 200 and some change now. I don't even know where we are any longer. We've been doing this for over 4 years, which is crazy. It's hard to believe. And so, yeah.
The fact that we haven't had a major fight.
It happened recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, go check out all of our social media in the show notes. And if you would, do us a favor and go and rate us and give us a like in your podcatcher of choice, whatever it is. iTunes or Apple Podcasts, what they're calling it now, really helps a lot if you use them or if you have an account.
Yeah.
But it also helps in any of them if you would go and do that. It doesn't cost you anything, and it helps us tremendously.
My preferred caster is Podcast Guru.
Yeah, I really love Overcast. So, guys, thank you so much for the Project Gen X podcast. I am Alan Smith.
I'm the other guy, Big Dave.
And we will see you again real soon.
Sure.
Wait